it's Johara. Welcome back to my channel. So, I'm going to do one that I came up with, a top 10 thing. It's not like most top 10s I've done so far is like from like top 10, I don't know, Kitaro and Zuko moments on After Last Video. I haven't actually done that one yet, but I have it down and I will get to it eventually. I promise. But I have a few that aren't exactly that specific. That kind of to the point where like the countdown, it has like different themes from different shows and movies and stuff like that. I haven't done any of those yet, but I have them down. Like this one I'm planning on doing right now is top 10 ships the creators ruined. And not necessarily like ruined to the point where it's like I don't like them anymore, not that kind of ruin, but ruin like the way they ended, or if they never officially got together and they missed an opportunity, that kind of thing. Because I don't think there's any ship that I like stopped liking necessarily. There's some ships that as it goes on, it's like, oh wait, I prefer this one with this one or something like that. But most of the ships that I love, sometimes I feel like they did them wrong, did them dirty, but I still love them even if things ended poorly or something like that. So let's just get into it and I'll explain why it's on the list and why I think the creators ruined them. So number 10, Fish Lakes and Heather from Dragon's Race to the Edge. So this is the series of How to Train Your Dragon, and I love Dragon's Race to the Edge so much. I actually just recently rewatched all of How to Train Your Dragon franchise, 3 movies and the series. I still haven't seen that other series, like what is it called? Defenders of Berk, I think it is called. And I want to, but I can't find it anywhere, and so I can't watch it right now, but I will eventually get to it because I don't think it'll be as good as the movies or the other series, but I do want to give it a chance because it is part of the universe and I'm a huge How to Train Your Dragon fan. But on the second movie, Fish Lakes and Heather, Heather's not in any of the movies, and Fish Lakes liked Tough Nut, or Rough Nut. Sorry, I said Tough Nut. Wrong person, wrong twin. Rough Nut. And but Fish Lakes and Heather was so amazing. You know, I mean, at one point, when Heather called Astrid out for her relationship with Hiccup, Astrid made a comment about Fish Lake, or about Snarlau, and then she's like, no, I like someone with a little more brain, like Fish Lakes, and which is something Astrid mentions later on, is that Heather called Fish Lakes out by name, and Snarlau's like, Snarlau doesn't understand how Heather can prefer Fish Lakes over him. Well, first of all, Snarlau is many things. I don't even know how to explain Snarlau, but she likes someone who's really smart, like Fish Lakes, and Fish Lakes obviously liked her. I love the episode where he convinces her to stay at the Edge and become a dragon rider, and how he was able to help I almost called it Shattermaster. No, that's Dagger's dragon. Windshear, that's her name. How he got Windshear to be okay to be around other dragons, and it was just all beautiful. And I love how the team found out that they've been corresponding with one another, and then how happy Fish Lakes was to see her, and how she was happy to see him, and their relationship, their bond was just so beautiful, and it was built up amazingly. But then Heather leaves the Edge to be with her brother, and which I understand, but you know, and I still think Heather and Fish Lakes could have had a long distance relationship until, you know, they decided to leave the Edge, and I think, you know, maybe Fish Lakes could move to Berserk Island, and be with Heather, or Heather could decide to move to Berk and be with Fish Lakes. I don't know, but I don't like the idea of Fish Lakes and Rough Nut, and I love the idea of Fish Lakes and Heather. And it's sad that we only got so many moments with them, that they were only existent in the series and not in the movies, and that makes me sad. Number 9, Sydney and Gage from Walker, Texas Ranger. So they were only on the last 2 seasons, which makes me sad because they're actually 2 of my favorite characters. But I absolutely love them, and I ship them so hard. They're my favorite couple, even though, see, sometimes canon and non-canon couples can be tricky because if it's obvious that they like each other, like if they have jealous moments, even if they never downright say it, is that canon or non-canon? Because that's confusing. Like if one likes the other, or the other, or they both like each other but never get together, is that technically canon? Because they do technically have feelings for each other on the show, and this has been expressed, even if they never end up, you know, dating even for a short time, you know? So it makes me wonder, is that canon or non-canon? So I have no idea if this relationship is canon or non-canon. They never outright say that one has feelings for the other. But just little moments, you could tell, you know? So I think it's more non-canon because they never actually technically expressed it to anyone. But they're just amazing together, and they work so well together. I love the episode where they are pretending to be they're undercover motorcycle people. They're undercover, and then Sydney, but then they get caught, and Sydney gets tied up, and the place she's in is about to blow up, and then so Gage, Walker, and Trevette fight off the guys, and then Gage is like, Sydney's in there, and he runs in there, figures out a way to untie her, and then he runs out of the building, carrying her in his arms, as the building blows up behind him, and it's just so sweet, because he was just so worried about her, and I love it. And like, when Sydney has a moment with another guy, or when Gage has a moment with another girl, like on the one where they end up on a movie set, and Gage gets close to this movie star, and then at the end they kiss. Sydney was jealous. You can see it all over her face. And it missed an opportunity, okay? I think they should have gone together, and before just the end of the show too. I mean, I think they should have gone together. I mean, they're on the last 2 seasons, so I think they should have gone together. They even kissed at one point, and it made things very awkward. So I think technically, since they did kiss, it was canon, because they technically did kiss. But I just think that after that, maybe they should eventually actually get together, but they never did, and I'm still mad about it because they're so adorable. And the only reason why it is this far back is because they were only in the last 2 seasons, you know, and it just makes me sad. I think they should have been introduced in like season 1, and then it could show their relationship a lot more. Like, seriously, they're like my favorite characters, my favorite couple. You know, I mean, I don't go all gaga over Walker and Alex. You know, I mean, I do like them together, and they are a good couple. You know, but I'm not like the biggest fan of the characters. You know, and my favorite characters are Sydney and Gage, like I just mentioned. Also, I'm a big fan of Trevette. CD, especially CD, he's amazing, he's everything. And I still cry over his death. Actually, no, I don't cry when he dies. I cry whenever in the last episode when they dig up his body to find out how he actually died, because they find out he was murdered. Because then they show flashbacks, and it's really sad. But anyways, moving on. I also love Trent and Carlos, and they were only in a couple seasons too. Seasons 5, 6, I think, yeah, those are the seasons they're on. So yeah, I don't remember why they left the show, or if he even really mentions. Oh well, moving on. But I still think Sydney and Gage should have ended up together. 8, Caroline and Stefan. Now they're my favorite couple. Don't get me wrong, I still love Caroline and Klaus. They're my second favorite couple. My first is Caroline and Stefan, and I just love the trope of best friends to lovers anyways. I also love the trope of enemies to lovers, which is what Caroline and Klaus are. I also love forbidden relationships, which I guess Caroline and Klaus were kind of forbidden in a way. But anyways, they spent so much time building them up, and the writers even mentioned that they saw potential for the two of them getting together since season 2, episode 2, when he's like getting all the blood off of her, trying to help her and calming her down, saying that he's going to be there with her every step of the way and help her and protect her. So, and I absolutely love them, and I love their friendship, and what I love about them is that it was such a slow burn, meaning basically that their relationship was spread out through the entire series. Maybe not season 1, but from season 2 on, their relationship was spread out so much, you know? I mean, season 1, they only had a couple scenes together, or actually, I think they only had really one scene together, let's be real. And in season 2, they started he starts helping her and training her to control being a vampire. And then after that, they just get closer and closer and closer and closer. They become allies, friends, best friends, and they become so. They had so much chemistry, such a huge bond that they would do anything for each other. They're always on the same side. They're always agreeing with each other. When one has a problem, Stefan doesn't call Elena and Caroline doesn't call Tyler. They call each other to let each other know what's going on. And it's like, when something's going on, they immediately go together. I mean, there's that one episode when they were all locked in the school by Rebecca, and I might just be overlooking. I just might be a little too invested in this to notice such small details. But when Rebecca forces Tyler to turn to his wolf form and try to kill them, Stefan obviously gets in front of the girls, Caroline and Elena. But if you pay close enough attention to that scene, he's leaning more over to Caroline with his arm out towards her, keeping her back. Elena's on the other side and still behind Stefan, but he's over more to Caroline, trying to protect her first, and it's just so sweet. Ow, I hurt my fingers. I'm too invested in this, apparently. But I just love them, but then they don't officially get together until the beginning of season 7, and then they were together for a little bit, but then break up in the middle of the season because there's like a 3-year time jump, and they were broken up during the 3-year time jump, and then they get together at the end of season 7, and they're together throughout season 8. They do break up once again in season 8, don't they? Yeah, because Stefan goes all evil, and so they have to break up, and they were engaged at this point. And then when he becomes human, he thinks Caroline's better off without him, and then he comes back, realizing he was wrong, and proposes to her again, which was a really sweet moment. So so when they finally get together, it's like they don't give us as many moments as we deserved. They keep breaking them up for drama, which was bogus. We've been waiting since season 2 for them to get together, and then you do this, and then you kill off Stefan and leave Caroline a widow the day after she gets married? What's wrong with you? You did them such dirty. They deserve so much better. And they should have, instead of having Damon take the cure and be reunited with Stefan, they should have had Caroline do it. I know Caroline loves being a vampire, and it suits her well, but she loves Stefan more. And I mean, in years and years and years in the future, I can see her when her kids are grown, and maybe even after her kids are dead, because they're siphoned, so I think they're mortal, unlike her, who is immortal. I can see her missing her kids and missing Stefan, and so I can see her like taking the cure and to be reunited with Stefan, and then her kids, and it would be so sweet. And I think that's how it should have ended, instead of Stefan and Damon. But I might be a little bit biased because I can't stand Damon. I'm gonna get hate for that, but I can't. Number 7, Jackie and Hyde. Now they are like the definition of enemies to lovers. Okay, from season 1, you could tell that they hate each other, that they will always hate each other. It was just obvious on both ends, you know. I mean, Jackie did go through that little phase where she had liked him, and I think I did a video recently. Just please check it out, where it was one of my theories, because I do these theories about different shows and movies, different characters, different couples, and this theory was about Hyde actually having feelings for Jackie long before season 5. You know, because there's just little things like him taking her to prom. You know, if he didn't like her, he wouldn't have done that. Yeah, she was like whining, but it's Hyde. He wouldn't have done it if he actually didn't want to, you know. And he even looked all nice, brought her a corsage. Come on, if he decided to take her to prom, he didn't have to do all that. There are other moments too. It's all mentioned in the video, so check it out. But they finally get together in season 5, have the secret relationship. I love when everyone finds out about them, and they're just so amazing. They break up at the end of season. I think they break up like once in every season. I'm not even kidding. They broke up for an episode in the middle of season 5 because Jackie yelled, "Get off my boyfriend," to someone who was on Kelso. And but then they make up the next episode, and then they break up at the end of season 5 because Hyde cheated on Jackie because he thought Jackie was cheating on him with Kelso. And then they get together at the beginning of season 6. And then they're actually together throughout season 6, I believe. And then in season 7, they break up because Hyde isn't willing to promise that they'd ever get married, and she can't waste her time on someone who won't give her a future. So, but then they get back together again because they realized how good they are together, how much they love each other. But then he still wasn't promising her anything, so Jackie decides to move to take this opportunity in Chicago, and he ends up following her because he decides he wanted to marry her because he loves her and he can't lose her again. But then Kelso was there, and then in season 8, I don't really remember season 8 that much because I can't stand that season. I mean, Eric not being there, Kelso only being in half of it, Jackie and Hyde not being together, Jackie and Fez getting together. No. But anyways, so Jackie apologized to Hyde in season 8, and it turns out when he was also upset about Jackie and Kelso, he ended up getting married to a stripper. So, and they never end up resolving things after that, and I can't stand it because they're so amazing together. And I mean, I even read this article about things that went wrong with that 70s show in the last season, and honestly, I was expecting to see Eric leaving being number 1. It was number 2 because number 1 was Jackie and Fez getting together because Jackie and Hyde should have been together, and no one wanted Jackie and Fez together. Like, ew, no. But Jackie and Hyde were amazing. They helped each other. You know, Hyde helped Jackie with her whole vanity part and actually made her care about someone and made her realize her full potential, because with Kelso, she always kind of pretended she wasn't all that smart, and then when she's with Hyde, you start realizing that she's actually smarter than she's been letting on all these years. And with Hyde, she kind of helped him with his being closed off, you know, not letting anyone in. He finally fell in love with her and let her in, and was finally willing to love someone, and they just helped each other, and they have so much chemistry, and they are just everything, and I will never forgive the writers for ruining that ship. Number 6, Greer and Leith from Reign. So I love this ship, it was a forbidden relationship, and like I just said, I love that trope. But Greer's one of the ladies in waiting, and she has to find someone with a title like a prince, a king, a lord, like Lord Narcisse, who she ends up marrying, even if it's temporary. But her and Leith were just so amazing together. They had that one kiss because he was helping her, and then she's like, this can never happen again. And then Leith falls for her, and she falls for him, and she tries her hardest to like stay away from him because that could ruin everything. But she ended up not being able to. So they end up having this secret relationship for a while, and they do get caught, and Leith is sent to the army. Greer's all upset because she's terrified he won't make it. And then she finds out he did, and he even saved King Francis's life. So he ended up, so he rewarded him with like a land and stuff, but he still didn't get a title. So Greer still wasn't willing to risk it, even though she loved him. And then he got mad at her and kind of stormed off. And then when Greer gets banished because of something Lord Narcisse did, with her being his wife, she got punished too, and he got sent to prison. But Mary was able to be able to like convince him not to send Greer to prison, but couldn't not get her banished, if that makes any sense. So and then they get reunited, and then they end up together again, and then Leith wants to marry her, and Greer's not wanting to be with him anymore. It's about, you know, finally her life isn't dependent on a man and marriage, and she likes how things are, and that's how she wants things. But Leith wasn't okay with her still not wanting marriage from him. So they kind of just, so that was like the end of it, and I hate it because they deserve so much better. They were amazing together, and I love them, you know. They're just so perfect together, and I'm still upset that they couldn't be together. And yeah, so number 5, Alex and Joe from Grey's Anatomy. The only reason why they broke up is because Alex wanted to leave the show. But I'm not okay with it because they did not sink in. Because I hated Alex in season 1. I think most people did. But he had this amazing character development. He grew so much. And then what? They decided that, oh, you know, they could have found a different way to get Alex to leave. They could have said, oh, he's being, I don't know, transported to a different hospital for temporarily because the actor might decide to come back, because what I heard is that he's leaving because of family issues, so he might come back. And you know, they could have found a different way. Alex and Joe could have moved away. You know, I mean, Joe, the actress might not have wanted to leave, but it would have been better off because Alex, look at all the things he did for Joe, you know, helped her through her abusive ex, pummeled a guy he thought was hurting her. He just did all this stuff for Joe. He loved her, and then he leaves her for Izzy because he never stopped loving her. I don't buy that. Him and Izzy were gone long before, and honestly, I was never a fan of their relationship anyways. I loved Izzy with Denny, and then I liked the thought of Izzy with George, but the creators ruined that ship too. I don't think I put that on the list though. No. Oh well. They were just perfect together, and the creators ruined them and ruined 16 seasons worth of character development for Alex. And I mean, it's one thing to have Izzy find out that she had kids, because there were things that, because of you know, freezing their eggs and sperm and whatnot, they did back in like season 5. But he could have decided to stay there temporarily to get to know his children, you know, not actually be with Izzy. He could have been in a long distance relationship with Joe, or Joe could go there to meet his kids, and then they could come back someday if Alex decides to come back. But no, they decided to go this route, and it was a poor decision. Number 4. Half the fandom's gonna hate me for this, the other half's gonna agree with me with this. So, Phoebe and Cole from Charmed. I love Phoebe and Cole. They're just, don't get me wrong, I like Phoebe with Coop too, and if she has to end up with someone that isn't cool, Coop is good, okay? I like Coop. I like her relationship with Coop, but I will always prefer Phoebe and Cole. They just had this amazing relationship. They met season 3. Phoebe was immediately in love with him. Okay, maybe not in love. Immediately had attractions to him, definitely. You find out that it was all just a trick, that he was trying to get close to her on purpose because he was half demon and he was sent by the Triad to kill the Charmed Ones, and he decided to go through Phoebe to do it, but he actually fell in love with her because he's like only half demon, so he has that human half, because his father was human, his mother was a demon. But then, you know, so, and then they break up because of it, but then, Phoebe and Cole decides to fight for Phoebe, and Phoebe realizes that she does love him and decides to be with him, but then he's tricked he goes undercover with, the Brotherhood, who he used to be part of, and then they trick him into killing a witch, and Phoebe thought he turned evil again, so broke up with him, and then decides to fight for him right around the time Prue dies, and then, they're together throughout season 4, but then his Balthazar evil side gets a hold of him, and they end up turning him human, and that worked for after a while until the Seer tricked Cole into becoming the Source, and then he tried to kill them, or kill Pyra and Phoebe, or Paige, because Cole's love for Phoebe was too strong, even for the Source, which says a lot. And Phoebe had no choice but to vanquish him, and he dies twice in this show, but that death is his first actual death, technically, because even though everyone thought he died before, except for Phoebe, he didn't, so I don't consider that like technical death, because they only thought he died. But but I always cry at that scene. You know, Phoebe has no choice but to kill him, the love of her life, and then right afterwards she's crying in bed, and Piper and Paige go up and kind of just, you know, confront her, help her and, you know, be there for her, and it's just so sad, and I cry every time. And he comes back in season 5. By that point, she's over him. Well, not exactly over him. She still loves him, but she doesn't want to go through that again. So she's like, no, we can't be together. But eventually, throughout season 5, she does end up hating him until he finally actually dies for good. Even though he does come back for one episode in season 7, which I love, because in that episode, Piper is dying, and Cole's trying to help Piper, and then there was even a scene when Phoebe and Paige were about to leave to go get help from Daryl, and then all of a sudden, they Phoebe stops and look at this, like, the corner, and because that's where Cole was currently standing. I mean, she couldn't see him or Piper's spirit, but it's like she could sense him, and I just love it. And Paige was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I don't know. And then they leave, and it was just so sweet, because like she could sense him, because, you know, it was just, I ship it. But they did them so wrong, because I think they could have made it work, you know, with Cole as Balthazar or as human. But honestly, if Cole would have told them from the very beginning that the source was inside him, they might have been able to stop the source instead of him trying to fight it alone, you know, because he failed that fight. I mean, not completely, because the source inside of him still couldn't kill Phoebe as much as the source wanted to, because Cole's love for Phoebe was too strong. So yeah. Number 3, Anya and Xander from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So Anya's introduced in season 3. She was only in one episode until the end of season 3. She comes back for the prom because she ends up asking Xander to go on a date with her to prom, because she couldn't ask anyone else. And then she's on the first part of graduation because she knows about the Ascension and she gives them information. But then she comes back in season 4 because she has because she found herself, you know, really liking Xander, and she couldn't explain it. So she decided that if she has sex with him, then those feelings will go away. Not so much. So the two of them end up getting together, and it's beautiful, and they have this amazing relationship, you know, and Xander has trouble telling her how he feels for a while, but I love the scene in Hush, which is such an underrated scene, when Xander walks into Giles' home, and then Anya's on the couch, and the way she actually kind of looks dead, to be honest. And then Spike was just drinking a cup of blood, because he's a vampire, if you haven't seen Buffy. And then he looks up with his vampire face on and blood dripping from his mouth. Anya looking dead. And this is when the gentleman had taken away their voices, so no one could speak, so it's not like Spike could even defend himself. Sorry, I just love to see it. Xander just runs and tackles him and starts beating the crap out of him, and it's like no one knew he was capable of that until Anya wakes up, and then Xander is so relieved, and he hugs her. It's just so sweet. And the episode right after Riley left, at the very end, when Xander walks up to Anya and is like, I want to make it clear because I don't think I have. And he's like, I love you so much, this and that, and it's just so sweet. But they have such an amazing relationship in seasons 4, 5, and then half of 6, and they get engaged at the end of season 5, and they were happy about it. And then I love the episode with their wedding, but because that demon had tricked Xander into thinking that if they got married, then Xander would end up hurting her, and that's the last thing he wanted. But then he still ends up, even though after he found out it wasn't true, he still ends up leaving her at the altar, which I understand why, because he looked over, because when Anya was saying, it's okay, we can get married now, Xander looked over at his parents, watching them fighting, and his drunk father all in his mother's face, and his mother looking just so done with it, and he is terrified of becoming his father. He's terrified of hurting the love of his life, so he walks out, you know. And then Anya comes back in season 7. No, she comes back in season 6. Because she was there when the old Tara's death thing. But then, but yeah, they have a few fights because they were both, because Xander wanted to be with Anya, and Anya was angry at Xander. In season 7, though they seem to have gone close again. They even slept together at one point. And whenever Xander got her with his eye taken out by Caleb, Anya was kind of just standing behind him with her hands on his shoulders, kind of, you know, massaging his hair because it's Anya. Don't ask me why. It's Anya. That's all I have to say. Anya is just something else entirely. But they were just perfect together. And then Anya dies in the battle. And then when Xander finds out, oh, I'm gonna cry. Okay. When Xander asked Andrew what happened because Andrew was with Anya, he's like, she died saving my life. And then Xander's like, that's my girl, always doing this stupid thing. And you can just hear his voice breaking when he says it, because even though they had their differences towards the end, he still loved her more than anything, and he lost her. And she died in a way that no one would have expected, because, I mean, yeah, she sacrificed herself at the end of season 5 for Xander, but you didn't think she would do that for anyone else, especially not Andrew, but she did end up dying to save his life, and I would rather Andrew die because Anya and Xander, and I'm just gonna stop now because I really, really don't want my face to be full of tears for the rest of the video, so let's move on. Okay. Number 3, Anya and Xander from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I just said that one. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing. Number 2, Tez and Suki from Fast and Furious 2. Okay, technically these two probably should have been higher up because they really only had that one movie together. But, oh well. They just had so much chemistry in the second Fast and Furious, and they were so good together, and I liked Suki's character. You know, she took no crap from I almost said Xander. What? No, from Tez or anyone. And she was funny, and her and Tez were just so cute together. And then Tez comes back for season what? No, for movie 5. But Suki doesn't. They don't ever mention her again, because they were together in movie 2, and but they never even mention her. You know, and then him and what's his name? I'm drawing a blank. What's his name? Crap, I'm gonna hate myself for not remembering his name. Tez's best friend, Brian's other best friend, you know? Oh my gosh. Hold on! Okay, I'll be there in a minute. But they just had so much chemistry, and they were so good together. I think they should have brought Suki back too, and her and Tez should have been together, because I don't like him fighting for Ramsey's attention, because I think Ramsey's really smart, Tez is really smart, but I think Ramsey should be with the other guy. I can't remember his name now. I'm gonna hate myself. The guy who always says I'm hungry. It starts with an R. Crap, I hate myself for not remembering his name. Anyways, moving on. Tez and Suki should have ended up together, but that's pretty much, well, I mean, she could always come back. I mean, they're not done with the movies. But still, I doubt it. Honorable mentions: Riley and Falco from Girl Meets World. They were never technically together, but I ship it so much, and the creators could have had. There are so many amazing moments to get with them, especially later on. And I just think the writers missed an amazing opportunity of getting them together. And Robin and Barney from How I Met Your Mother, there's really, if you've seen the show, there's no explanation that I need to take for that one, because like they were together and then they broke up shortly after, and then they had feelings for each other like the rest of the show until they get together, get engaged at the end of the show, and then they spend an entire season getting married, and then only to break up like 5 minutes later. Like, what? No. And number 1 is Katara and Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Half the fandom's gonna agree with me, the other half fandom's gonna hate me, but I'm a Sutara shipper. Katang I hate. I like their friendship, and I love Aang, I do, but Katara and Aang have no chemistry, no spark. The entire time Katara looked at him like a little brother, and then all of a sudden, the last 5 minutes of the show is like, oh, wait a minute, I see him as more than friends. No, you do not, girl, no. The two of them just, no. I don't like them together at all, not even a little bit. Zero, zilch, zippo. Katara and Zuko. Yeah, in a minute. Katara has so much chemistry, and ship it so much, and they belong together, and I'm still up, and they had so many amazing moments, especially towards the end. At the end of season 2 and then the end of season 3, they just had so many amazing moments, and I love it and I ship it. And the creators completely ruined an amazing opportunity because Katang is cringy. I can't watch them kiss. I can't even watch this last 5 minutes of the show because it's about them kissing and finally getting together, and I can't do it because ew, gross, no, But Katara and Zuko should have been together. They were amazing and I love it, and I will forever be angry at the writers for deciding to do Katang instead of Zutara, because Zutara is endgame in my heart. They always will be. And so yes, I'm mad at the creators for ruining Zutara. So please don't come at me for saying Zutara is better than Katang, but it is, at least in my opinion. You can like Katang if you want, but Zutara forever for me. So that is all for this list. Please like and subscribe and comment the ships you think the creators of some show or movie have ruined, and tell me if there's any ships that I didn't include, or if you agree with any of these. So I will talk to you guys later. See ya!